Oh, Mattiussi. It's Mattiussi, and you pronounce the T as a hard T, and then you get the I in there. Mattiussi. I was told by my Finnish friends that it's the two most common names in Finland, Mattiussi. So. But I'm not Finn. That's the. I've had many people say to me, what do you do at City Hall?" I said, "I'm a city manager," and they say, "Which department?" I said, "All of them." Yeah, so I think there is that basic lack of knowledge, and a lot of people will say, "Well, who's that Ron Mattiussi thing? Thinks he runs the city." Well, I do, like I do by law, like I'm supposed to. Now, I don't set the budget, right? I mean, I have to convince you as an elected person, that this is the money we need, the programs we need. I can't just go out and start doing stuff. I mean, everything we do, a council has approved. So that's the check and balance. But once those approvals are in place, it's not like I call up every member of council and say, "Should we plow Gordon tonight?" It's snowing. Some things happen because we have a budget. You could imagine if we had 9 people on council and each one of them ran around City Hall talking to each different department about things that they'd like to see or not see. Pretty soon it would be quite chaotic and things would ground to a halt. So the way the system works is a council has one employee, and that's the city manager. And by the city manager then represents staff and makes recommendations and provides information to the council. And for one, if there are concerns, there should be concerns that come through council, unless it's something where, councilors are free to bring me issues of constituents, bring them and we try to fix them within the context of our existing policies and those types of things. If they're outside, then council will have to deal with it as a whole. But the flip side is if what the one employee model prevents is it's actually respectful to council, because council's power comes when they meet and they have the information, which is open and transparent, and they deliberate and they discuss and they debate and they make a decision. And so those decisions should be made at the council table. And if Councillor X is friends with staff person Y and Councillor W is friends with a staff person, all of a sudden that breaks down, because now some councillor may have the ability to influence a department, a manager, a policy. And that influence really should be happening at the council table, where everyone can hear why. So if you're very passionate about road plowing, and you have your really some thoughts about that, well, it'd be inappropriate for you to go and try to convince the manager of transportation to change it, because now you're changing policy that affects all of our city. And really, what you should be doing is, by all means, finding out as much as you can about transportation, and so you get a better understanding. But you really should bring that matter to council. Council then can ask the manager of transportation to formally, provide the information, and then you can debate it, and it should happen in council. So, people may look at the one manager model and say, "Oh, that's just Rob Mattiussi, the control freak, trying to keep everybody out from talking to his staff." But really, it's respecting the council process and respecting all members of council, so that those kinds of relationships don't interfere with open government. But I think the best was the IHA, deal, where I had heard that IHA wanted to consolidate their office space. I had coffee, literally in this office, with Dr. Halpenny, who was then running the IHA, and said, "I hear you're consolidating office space. We'd really like you to be in the downtown. You're a public agency. I'm a public agency. We're limited by all those rules, but could we work together and see if we could do this?" And maybe the answer will be no, but let's explore all possibilities before we get to no. And he said, "Great idea. Let's try that." And it was literally on a handshake. "I'll have my staff person call your staff person." And away they went. And within 3 years, we cut the ribbon on a building. But to me, I think that's it's the kind of thing that kind of is fun, and that where you have an idea and somebody says, "Yeah, that's a great idea," and then you walk down and today there's a building in the corner. It's just a good idea, right? Well,
how do
well, I think that's the fallacy. You don't, the thing is, I'm not an expert in it, of anything. The great analogy, I think, is I'm the conductor of an orchestra, right? The conductor may play some instruments, may come from, obviously comes from a musical background. I'm a planner, it's my instrument. But in the end, the conductor has to understand the score, has to understand the music, has to put it together. But really, the conductor is the only person in the orchestra actually now playing an instrument. And I think that's a lot like the city manager. I don't have to know anything about engineering. I just have to have really good engineers that work for me and to ask those questions. And I think, as a planner, I think one of the things the city manager does need, and this is the problem sometimes, is that there's leadership, and there's a great book on city managers called Leadership in the Shadows, and because the city manager needs to have vision as well, right? I mean, it's our elected people do, because they are the representative. You're the representative of the public, but there needs to be that kind of vision and leadership too, from the understanding of the person who operationally runs the city, right, and where it's going. So.
Well, sit down and have that coffee with that was leadership. That was you coming up with that. I've heard. I'm going to meet you.
Yeah. Is there any way we could do this? And of course, then taking it to council and saying, "Council, what? Met with us? Are we okay? Yeah, bring it." Then council, bring us the deal and let us know what the parameters are. Let us know what the impact. And you work through council. They're working through the ministry, but in the end, it still was two people saying, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea," and then the machine works. Right?